Okay, so we're on page 243, number 14, and we're going to graph this polynomial. Okay, so we're going to go through all the procedures that we've been learning in this chapter. The first thing is the end behavior. So this was in the last lesson. So let's talk about it again. The end behavior, what does this polynomial look like out on the edges? Way out on the edge. Okay, way out on the edge. What's it going to look like? Out here, not in the middle, somewhere out on the edge. And it's determined by x to the fourth. That's the leading term. The greatest power. It's a fourth degree polynomial. And by the way, a fourth degree polynomial has up to 3 terms. Up to 3 terms. When you graph it, we'll see that in a minute. So x to the fourth, if you plug 10 in there, it's big. 10 to the fourth is big. Negative 10 to the fourth, it's also big. Right? So this one goes up on both sides since it's 2 big positive numbers on both sides. Now we want to find the zeros or the y-intercepts. Same thing, so set it to 0. So to find the zeros, we got to factor it. So let's see, how do we factor it? Well, there's a common x squared in there, I believe. Right? Take the x squared out. Then, looks like we can factor this quadratic. X minus 3x minus 1. What do you think? So here's the zeros, or the y-intercepts over here. X equals 0. That comes from the x squared. That's multiplicity 2. X equals 3 and 1. They both have multiplicity 1. I'll show you how that impacts the graph. Okay, how about the y-intercept? Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. This was the x-intercept. My bad. X-intercept, where it's crossing the x-axis. Set y to 0, right? Okay. The y-intercept, you set x to 0. This is the easy one. So this is just g of 0. So it's 0 to the fourth minus 4 times 0 cubed plus 3 times 0 squared. So I plug 0 up on top, and you get 0. Okay, now the last thing is plot some points. Plot some points. Okay, what points do we plot? Points between the x-intercepts over here. 0, 1, and 3. Let's put them in order. 0, 1, and 3. We want to plot points in between. So negative 1 would be nice. 1/2 would be nice. And let's see, 2 would be good. I'm going to skip 1/2 for now because it's a fraction. I really don't want to do fractions. And let's do 4 over here on the other side. Let's try that. So where are we going to plug these? Into the polynomial. Now, you can either plug it in up here, or you can plug it into the factored version. Which one do you think is easier? It's the same. Think about that. You pause me a minute. Think about that. I think the factored version will be real easy to plug numbers into. Because the factored version down here, for instance, negative 1. You got negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So you got negative 4, negative 2. That's 8 times 1 is 8. Plug in 2. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you have negative 1 here, and 2 squared here is 4, so that's negative 4. Let's plug in 4. 4 minus 3 is 1, so that's nothing. 4 minus 1 is 3. And 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3, is it 48? 16 times 3, 32, 48, I think. Okay, now let's graph this polynomial. It has up to 3 terms. Crossing the x-axis at 0, 1, and 3. the end behavior goes up on both sides. So it goes up on this side, goes up on this side. Okay? Plot some points. Okay, I'm going to erase this. Here, let's say 8's up here, -1, 8. 4 is way up there off the chart, so I'm going to put it way up there, kind of roughly. And then 2, we have -4. Let's say that's right about there. So at 2, we have -4. So the polynomial is up on this side. It's got to go through the first 0, bend over here through this one. Now let me tell you something here. When they have multiplicity 1, so the 3 and the 1 have multiplicity 1. If they have multiplicity 1, the graph goes straight through it. Both of these go straight through. The 0 has multiplicity 2. It bounces. So it's going to come here, it's going to bounce and go up like this. So you see that little bounce right there? Looks like a little parabola. That's because that came from x squared. So this is a lot there. So pause, review it, and so forth.